What's good, internet? Jake here, dumb as ever, and Spider-Man is easily my favorite superhero, which is really unique and interesting, I know. But it's true, I've grown up loving Spider-Man comics, games, toys, whatever. Since Spider-Man is one of the most beloved and marketable superheroes, he's had tons and tons of toys made. Even to this day, Spidey gets his own toy lines, and is often featured in the Marvel Legends line. I think Marvel keeps giving him new costumes in the comics so Hasbro can create new toys. But that's just a theory. A toy theory. Back in the day, Toy Biz was the reigning toy company that had the Marvel license. Hell, at some point they literally merged with Marvel. So it was an important toy company, and their toys really represent Marvel in the 90s and 2000s to me. Hasbro's offerings today aren't too different either. They're still using the Marvel Legends brand name to this day. The one area where Hasbro completely fails in my opinion is the kids' toys. Back when Toy Biz was running things, kids were the primary market for toys. And while there were collector grade figures, the lion's share of Toy Biz action figures were created for kids, and either based on Marvel cartoons or comic books. And there were even toys based on completely made up concepts by Toy Biz. Especially for Spider-Man, a character they seem to be able to put into any situation, and as long as the toy looked vaguely Spider-Man-ish, it would sell. So Toy Biz went wild with their Spider-Man toys. And today I want to take a look at the weirdest ones I could find. Mind you, to me, weird doesn't necessarily mean bad, and I think a lot of these toys are unironically cool, or at the very least, super interesting. So with that in mind, let's put on our web shooters and start looking at some weird Spider-Man toys. And if this is the type of content you enjoy, please consider liking and subscribing. It ain't extra. First, we just have to discuss the Spider-Man Adventure Hero toy line, which is easily the most ridiculous of the lines we'll discuss today. This toy line featured 10-inch Spider-Man action figures that came with different outfits. Each outfit is based on a job or activity, like Firefighter Spider-Man or Snowboarding Spider-Man. These toys are so perfectly bizarre and toyetic. Why on earth would Spider-Man ever need rock climbing gear? Y'all know crawling on walls is like his thing, right? Common sense regarding the character just did not apply to this line. Like, the concept of bungee jumping Spider-Man is so funny. He literally web swings from skyscrapers on the daily. What rush or thrill could he possibly get from bungee jumping? Some of the outfits are hilarious as well. Each Spider-Man is dressed like a lifeguard in a cheesy 90s rom-com. I love the hat that you can put on his already masked head. These toys treat Spider-Man as if there is no Peter Parker. And that's just his face, not a mask. I also love the design on Spidey's chest. The wave design mixed with just his name Spider-Man across his chest is certainly a choice. Another great one is Skateboard Spider-Man. This Spider-Man is dressed like a background extra in a Sum 41 music video. He comes with a bizarrely over-designed skateboard with a rocket booster or whatever. I think just a normal skateboard would have been cool too. Also, I love that his name is just Skateboard Spider-Man. Not skateboarding or skateboarder, just skateboard. Bro is literally giving skateboard right now. There was also an inline skate Spider-Man, which honestly has one of the cooler looking costumes from the line. It looks more like the spider armor with that silver, which is complemented nicely by the blue and orange. Still bizarre because he comes with skates as if that's a good movement option for him, but at least they're normal skates. Speaking of good Spider-Man costumes, Ninja Spider-Man is kind of raw, I can't lie. I like the simple look of his robe. The spider symbol does feel a little haphazardly added, like clip art filling the space on a PowerPoint presentation, but once you add this included metal mask, hoo boy, that is actually badass. I have no earthly idea what this metal mask has to do with being a ninja though. You can also headcanon that this is an alternate universe Spider-Man, instead of imagining Peter Parker's white ass dressing up like a ninja. Now that I think about it, you could probably pretend these are all from different universes. It would be cool if an adventure hero showed up in Spider-Verse 3, but he would have to move like an actual action figure, Lego Spider-Man style. In addition to the extreme sports Spider-Man, we also have the regular sports versions, like basketball Spider-Man, which I guess kind of makes sense. I've watched plenty of media where Peter Parker plays basketball, though again, he never wore his full Spider-Man costume. The logo on the chest kind of reminds me of Ultimate Spider-Man, Spider-Man, so that's cool. Baseball Spider-Man is utterly ridiculous. Bro is not going to the major leagues. And again, the concept of wearing a hat on your already masked head is hilarious. I also like that the toy comes with this little rubber baseball. Too big for an action figure, too small for a real baseball. Why do you exist? We also have Soccer Spidey. And at this point, what do you actually want me to say? Besides the subtle webbing on the shorts, this outfit isn't even Spider-Man themed. Finally, we have the genre of adventure hero series where Spider-Man joins the actual real military, like Sergeant Spider-Man, who is wearing military fatigues and is equipped with a water gun looking weapon. The cowards at Toy Biz didn't even give Spidey his classic military assault rifle. We also have Air Force Spider-Man, who just looks like Spider-Man in a pilot costume as expected, though he's a bit of a boring toy with no spider plane to fly. We also have Delta Force Spider-Man, who looks like he's fresh out of Vietnam, and they painted his blaster to look more like an actual gun too. This Spider-Man has killed people in combat for sure. He's seen some shit in that jungle. And finally, I have to mention Policeman Spider-Man, which is so bizarre for so many reasons. Does he still deliver vigilante justice, or is it now state sanctioned? The baton is such a crazy inclusion. Can you imagine Spider-Man beating someone with a baton? I personally cannot. But let's move on from the adventure hero toy line. There were a variety of generic Spider-Man toy lines floating around during the late 90s and early 2000s. There wasn't a toy line for Spider-Man Unlimited, so Toy Biz was kind of just running wild with the license, doing whatever. There were several lines that had generic names like Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, and Spider-Man Classics. So I'm just going to talk about them as a group. I grew up seeing these toys all the time in magazines and comic book ads, so some are pretty nostalgic to me. Like this clear plastic Venom, who just looks awesome. Like the sculpt is amazing and the cloudy clear plastic is just a cool effect. This is apparently meant to be stealth Venom. He very much reminds me of Anti-Venom, though that character didn't exist in 2006 when the toy came out, but he did first appear 2 years later in 2008. So who knows, maybe this toy was the inspiration for Anti-Venom. Being a Spider-Man toy line, there were plenty of weird variants of Spidey, like this one that has a Bionicle Rotuka spinner backpack, or Sneak Attack Spider-Man who is wearing some really cool armor. The most iconic toy from the Amazing Spider-Man line is probably Spider-Hulk, which appears to be Peter Parker irradiated by Gamma. This figure is just so random, but also pretty cool. I like the fact that his costume is mostly intact. It makes for a really unique looking toy instead of just Hulk with ripped up Spider-Man pants or something. There were also vehicles for Spider-Man to drive around. I actually can't think of anything more useless to Spider-Man than a car, but boy oh boy, he has one. Though the implication that the car can drive on walls is kind of fun. I also like the Spider-Man helicopter. I think it's cool because you could equip it with one of the Spider-Man web canisters, and you could use it as a blaster, which is pretty fun. My favorite vehicle is this Venomized motorcycle, mostly because it vaguely reminds me of Kamen Rider. Spider-Man Classics was a line that seemed more in line with the Marvel Legends, featuring characters with higher articulation and better sculpting. These toy designers went wild with some of the sculpts. This mid-transformation Venom is crazy looking. The face is wild. You can barely see Eddie's face under a screaming symbiote complete with a long tongue and yellow teeth. He also has a really cool display base. I don't know what beef he has with the Vault Guardsmen, but Venom beat his ass. Another insane figure is Man Spider, aka Peter Parker when his spider mutation gets out of control. There's a big rumor that Man Spider will appear in the next Spider-Man movie, which would be kind of crazy. Hopefully his transformation sequence looks something like this. Pure body horror. I love that he doesn't seem to be fully transformed, with his human eye and lower jaw still visible, and some of his fingers are skin colored while his lower arms seem to be mid-mutation as well. Since it was a cartoon, I never really thought about how horrific Man Spider really is, but it truly is just the Fly, but it happens to Peter Parker. The line just called Spider-Man went in some really weird directions. We got the Da Vinci Flying Machine Spider-Man, as well as Daredevil with a little tank that becomes armor. This one's a real head scratcher for me. They were really just doing whatever with these toys, I guess. We have a lizard figure where he's strapped into a contraption. It looks hilarious. Why does a lizard need a steamroller and a drill? Web Commando Spider-Man unironically looks cool as hell to me. He reminds me of that evil Spider-Man from the Madam Web movie. It looks like he has barbed wire in the place of webs and there's just no blue on his costume. It's kinda badass. There were some Spider-Man mech suits from the Armor Force subline. My favorite is a Sea Power suit, mostly because of this Frutiger Arrow-ass Spider-Man. He just looks really refreshing. The weirdest of these toys come from the Arachnophobia subline, which has some of the most bizarre characters created for a toy line. First of all, we have Vampire, who is Venom after contracting the vampire curse from Morbius. He's red and devilish, though a closer look at his sculpt makes it look like he's missing his flesh, and is made of raw muscle. It's pretty disgusting. There was also Man Lizard, a character that had me scratching my head until I read the box, which reveals that this is Peter after Dr. Connors tries to help him stop becoming Man Spider. But oops, that goofball accidentally mixes in lizard DNA, creating a man-spider-lizard hybrid. I can kind of see that. He's all green but has spider mandibles, and his hands appear to be living spider heads, with 8 eyes and mandibles on each arm. His long tail reveals an extra spider head at the end of it, which is just gross. Truly an abomination. Though the name Man-Lizard should be more like Man-Spider-Lizard, but whatever. My favorite toy from this line is Spider-Goblin, which appears to be the Green Goblin dressed as Spider-Man, though according to the back of the box, this creature is actually the merged form of Hobgoblin and Spider-Man. Peter really can't go one day without a genetic nightmare happening to him. Despite the weird lore, I really like this design. It's cool and strange in a particular way I like, but am unsure how to describe. I guess he kind of just has the vibe that he would appear in Spawn, and I like that vibe. Okay, let's move out of the realm of body horror just for a little bit, don't worry. And let's talk about a goofier line of toys, the Web Splashers, which is a line of action figures that featured little inflatable floaties for the pool. I'm not gonna lie, while they're weird as hell, I kind of love this concept. They do seem like actual fun toys to play with, specifically in the pool. Doc Ock got a great design, turning him into a bit of a Cyclops. And peep that octopus logo on his belt. It kinda looks bad, but he's experimenting with his look, okay? His floaty is a little octopus with a removable dome, which is kind of adorable. And there was a Spider-Man figure that had a similar floaty. There's something so silly and fun about this line. There were quite a few Spider-Man figures as one would expect. My favorite is the one that comes with the river raft. The idea of sending him down a stream is just too fun. This flame attack Spider-Man is kind of bizarre. It looks like Spidey caught on fire, or he borrowed a swimsuit from Firestar's wardrobe. Venom is randomly made out of water. No clue why, but he comes with this cool Venom Hydra floaty. There was also a second Venom figure where he's all green and strange looking, but his floaty is a venomized orca whale, which I love. Carnage also got a toy, though he's unique because the floaty was integrated into his body. There were also some deluxe vehicle sets. The coolest one to me is this Venom vehicle. Venom is green once again, but he's got giant claw hands, which is awesome. And his jet ski vehicle looks so cool. It reminds me of a Hot Wheels Attack Pack toy. And Venom also comes with this dome helmet thing that just looks kind of interesting to me. The big playset of the line was this Web Splasher playset, a multi-level boat type of thing. It looks like a lot of fun to me. Playing in the pool in 1997 was probably lit as hell because of these toys. In this last section, we'll be covering some sub-series from the Spider-Man 90s cartoon toy line, which ran for a really long time and featured some really silly ideas. Let's start with the Vampire Wars sub-series, which was all about Blade and Morbius. Spider-Man got an anti-vampire costume. I'm not sure what's anti-vampire about it exactly. It looks like he got caught in a giant doohickey and now it's stuck on his head. But don't worry, if this isn't enough body horror for you, we have that covered with the Vampire Spider-Man, another genetic nightmare. Toy Biz loved turning Peter into a mutated abomination. It was like their favorite pastime. This version of Spider-Man is sporting long arms and chicken legs. I'm gonna be honest, I don't get a huge vampire vibe from him in general. He also looks really goofy from the side. Morbius looks like such a Chad compared to Peter. Instead of weird and awkward, Morbius just got buff. And he's got quite the lion's mane of hair as well. Along with Vampire Wars, we had Techno Wars. All types of wars going on. This line is kind of random, nothing too crazy, but I think this Hypertech Spider-Man is a little bizarre. It's mostly normal Spider-Man, but he's got pumps on. It also featured a pretty cool Doc Ock who has a bunch of robot parts strapped to him. I dig the goofy helmet, he looks like a robot from the 60s. Finally, we have an offshoot of the Spider-Man line all about Venom, called Planet of the Symbiotes. I was obsessed with looking at these toys online when I was a kid. I thought they were so cool. I love all the unique symbiotes introduced. My favorite is Hybrid. I just think he looks awesome and I love that color. But the weirdest one of the bunch was always Venom the Madness, a wild version of Venom that has a bunch of little extra Venom heads and arms. Venom also has little tongues coming out of his hands, which is gross. They also made this green version, which I love for some reason. He just looks radioactive. Toy Biz was just obsessed with making Venom green. I have no idea why. As a final mention, I also wanted to point out this figure from another Venom line called Along Came a Spider. This is Venom the Symbiote, aka Venom without Eddie Brock. And I absolutely love the look of this design. He's like a Jersey Devil Venom or something. He looks straight out of the Spawn universe, which makes sense to me. I love this era where Toy Biz was just putting out insanely metal or weird stuff to capture kids' attention. From vampires to lizards to robots, Spider-Man had a lot of weird toys. Mostly where he gets horrifically mutated. But hey, you got to play baseball too, or whatever. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing. And if you'd like to support me further, I have a YouTube membership and Patreon. For $1 a month, both give you the same thing. Access to my members exclusive bonus videos, as well as an invite to my super chill Discord server. Alright y'all, I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.